DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned in to the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves me, you, him, her, them, they, and everybody to go and make things happen instead of wait for things to happen. And then we put all this together into one framework, one approach, one mindset. We wrote a bunch of books on this subject. We got this daily masterclass. Every day we are giving you the game. And all of this is all under the umbrella that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today I'm giving you the third episode here where we are talking sales and branding and marketing yourself. We're going to talk about how you can get yourself some branding deals. Any of you who's interested in brand deals, and I'll get to explaining that in a second. Before I do that, let me remind you all that I have a text message line where I want you to text me and tell me the best insight you got from today's masterclass. My number is 305-384-6894. You have a question, comment, concern, complaint, great insight that you got from it. Anything you want to ask me about it or share with me about what you heard, just text me right there at that number. Also, once you have texted me, you will be part of my texting community, which means you're going to receive my daily motivation text message, which I send out every single morning to everybody who is in my texting community. So even if you don't have a question or comment about what you heard here today, text me anyway so that you can be in my text community. And if you ever do have a question or comment, you already have a way to directly connect with me, which is right through that text number. Again, 305-384-6894. That number is down below in the show notes, just in case you forgot it already. So this topic again, how to get brand deals. On the heels of what we talked about the last 2 days, we talked about the selling equation, talked about why image matters a lot. And I told you in the last point yesterday that it's really important that you get your brand name out there. You really do build your brand. And let's talk about some things that can happen, some things that can be a result of building your brand. This is specifically for those of you out there, especially these days, who are into, you want to be an influencer online. If you want to be in the influencer community, you want to build up your following on some social media platform, and you want to get known for putting your stuff out there, and then be able to maybe even support yourself and do even more than that based off of your influence in the field, just being on social media and things like that. This is what I'm really talking about here when it comes to brand deals. Now, I talked about being an influencer in episode 1862. If you want to be a creator or influencer, listen to this episode now. And I also told you how there is no such thing as an underpaid entrepreneur a couple weeks later in episode 1878. Both of those are targeted towards the influencers. So if you haven't listened to those two episodes, they are linked down below in the show notes. Now, personally, when the influencer community first popped off, when it first became a thing, and it wasn't actually a community, it was just, we were just started to use the phrase, that was probably around, I would say around between 2010 and 2014. That's when the influencer stuff first started. That's when we first really started using the phrase. And that's when big companies like the Nikes and the Amazons and Apples started to realize, maybe not so much Apple, but companies like Nike, Amazon, merchandise companies, and every company's involved in it now, started to realize like, hey, we could actually pay money or give some free stuff to these people who have these followings on social media, because they're the ones who have the eyeballs of the target audiences that we want to sell to. At that point, I was already well established on social media because I was using YouTube a lot. That was the main place that I was known specifically for my basketball type material. So when the influencer world first started, and I wasn't even aiming to be an influencer, but when it first started, I was labeled an influencer as soon as influencers became a thing because of the position that I held, and did a lot of brand deals and a lot of brand events around that back then. Now, these days, I'm much more into, not so much into the social media influencer space, even though maybe people might say that I'm a micro influencer, that people way more followers than me than what I have on my social platforms. But I'm more into the just more traditional, I guess we can say, digital marketing entrepreneurship these days than I am influencer. But I understand the game. I understand the business of this, and I understand how it works. So that's why I'm talking about this here today. So with social media and influencing becoming as popular as it's becoming, especially for this generation of people who are, let's say, under the age of 30 right now, being an influencer can be a big deal. And this could be your full-time job. Again, keeping in mind, though, what I told you in episodes 1862, 1878, and also episode 1690, the dark secret that the social media platforms don't want you to know. Make sure you listen to all 3 of those episodes. With that in mind, you can make a full-time income and then some being a full-time social media influencer. Again, keeping in mind that you don't have as much control as you might think you do. But since you already know that, because I gave you those episodes already, let's have a primer in place via this masterclass for you getting those brand deals, with the disclaimer that nothing I share here is legal advice, nothing I share here is financial advice. So as long as you agree with that, continue on. Point number 1, today's topic again is how to get brand deals. First of all, let's understand what a brand deal is. It is a company or even a person, and a person can be a company themselves, who wants to borrow your relationship with your audience to promote their product or their cause. That's it. That's what a brand deal is. A company, let's just say Nike, they want to borrow your relationship with an audience. So let's say you on Instagram. They want to borrow that relationship, meaning let's say you have 50,000 followers on IG. So Nike reaches out to you and they say, we see you have 50,000 followers on IG. We want you to promote this new sports bra or these new basketball sneakers. And they are going to give you something in exchange for that. The sale, the transaction is whatever they give you in exchange for you promoting that product. Maybe they'll give you the free product and that's all they give you. Maybe they give you the free product and some money. Maybe they just give you some money. Whatever it is that they give you, you're going to come to an agreement with them. Okay, Nike, you give me this, I will do this. All right, that's the exchange. They get something, you get something. And then you promote whatever it is, their cause, their idea, whatever, to your audience. It could be something like right now. Let's say you have a podcast or you have a YouTube channel where you make videos on a regular. You can put an advertisement inside of your video. Now, YouTube automatically puts ads on videos, but I'm talking about the ads that you put in your video. So you could you can kind of bake the ad into your material. So you probably see yourself on YouTube. A lot of times people who create content will put an advertisement inside of the material, meaning it's not like an ad break that YouTube puts in the video. It's an ad break that they themselves put into the video. I was watching a Ben Shapiro video the other day, and he had an ad for some earbuds, and it was baked into his material. So he just broke off from the material, started talking about the earbuds, and then he went right back to the material. It wasn't a YouTube ad, it was his own ad, which apparently, I'm going to assume, that earbuds company paid Ben Shapiro to put that ad inside of his material. And what was the reason for that? That earbuds company were going to, ostensibly, we'll say, believes that if they get their material in front of Ben Shapiro's audience, it'll help them make some money. And hopefully they make more off of what Ben Shapiro's audience brings into them in terms of sales than what they had to pay Ben to put that ad inside of his content, at least in the long run. That's just the overall basic bare bones idea of what a brand deal is. So because you have an audience and you have engagement with that audience, this is you, the creator, some company or person will be willing to pay you something, cash and prizes, in order to get their message in front of your audience. So they can basically cut short the work of having to build an audience. You already did that. So now they're just gonna buy access to your audience. So instead of them going and building up their TikTok the way that you did, they're just gonna buy access to your TikTok by giving you money, and then you can sell it. So you are basically monetizing the work that you've done to build an audience. That is the essential understanding of what a brand deal is. So Nike could send you a bunch of free shoes to promote to your followers. Walmart might pay you to have you on a billboard. That is part of a brand deal too. You be on a billboard is a brand deal to bring people in for their everyday low prices. I might pay you and say, hey, mention the Work On Your Game podcast on your Facebook page if I think your fans might like my show. All of the above fall under the heading of a brand deal. Anywhere that you are trading on your audience reach and your audience engagement, meaning how many followers you have or how much people are listening to you and conversing with you, having back and forth exchanges with you. If you're trading on that in exchange for money or other considerations, you are doing a brand deal. Does everybody follow? Everybody understand what a brand deal is now? Great. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how to get brand deals. So how do you actually get one? First thing you must do is you got to build a platform. You must have a platform. You must have a space where people know you, people can connect with you, and hopefully those people know, like, and trust you enough that your word will actually be worth something, because that's how you get brand deals. Brands are paying you for the connection and the relationship that they either cannot or have not built on their own. Now, let me be clear about this. When a brand pays you for the connection and the relationship, doesn't mean that they don't have any connections or relationships at all, but they're paying for your connections and relationships, not just any. For example, I'll just use Nike as an example. I'll use Walmart as an example. Nike and Walmart don't need any of us in order to sell their products. They don't need me. They don't need you. It doesn't matter how many followers you have on social media. They will still sell products with or without either of us. But because of the deep connection that you have with your specific audience, or the connection that I would have with my audience, they're willing to pay me in order to connect to my specific audience because they believe that that's worth something. All right, that's what I mean when I say build a platform. So the connection and relationships that you have with your specific audience, they can't get that because they're not you. They don't have your personality. They don't have your delivery. They haven't done what you've done. They don't have your approach. So they want that because you have the ears of those people the way that Nike does not. And think about the people that you follow on social media, that you listen to. There's certain people that you listen to or follow online that when they say something, it matters more to you than when Apple says something or Walmart or Nike says something. Why? Because you have more of a connection with that individual. So all that is said to mean this: you don't have to have X number of followers in order to get a brand deal. What you need to have is a solid connection with your followers. Doesn't matter how many it is. When your connection is solid enough, that is worth something because, again, you have the eyes and ears of those people in a way that other people don't. If you think about it, any parents who are listening to this right now, or kids who live with your parents, think about this. Parents who are listening, when you say something to your kids, does it carry more weight than if somebody on TV said it, or a person across the street said it, or a stranger on the subway said it? Of course it does. So even though your audience, so to speak, might only be 1 or 2 or 4 kids, your connection to them is much stronger than anybody else's connection to them. Hopefully, I think that's what you would aim for as a parent. So that engagement is worth something. And that's why somebody, again, I'm just using this as a rough example, might want to hire you for a brand deal because they want to reach your kids, because your word to your kids matters more than Nike's word to your kids, even though Nike has 1 million times more followers than you have. So a platform does not necessarily mean a lot of people. Platform just means a deep connection with an audience. It doesn't mean a lot. It means you need to have people's eyes and ears in a way that your word matters to those people more than some company's word. This is why Nike's willing to pay for it. Because again, does Nike actually need your audience? No, they had an audience before you even born. But they will pay for yours because you have a certain connection to them. So no matter how many people are in your audience, people need to know that you exist so that you can build that know, like, and trust factor. So when I say build a platform, what I mean is put yourself out there, put your work out there, get yourself known on some platform so that, and build a platform on some platform, being the Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, whatever else is out there. Get yourself known on a platform so that your audience can get to know you and they can build a relationship with you. You build a relationship with them. So then if a brand is looking for someone like you, they can find you. You actually have to be discoverable. You have to exist in order for somebody to find you. All right, people don't know that you exist and you're not out there, then you can't be found. So number one thing is build your platform and get yourself out there, but we're not done. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how to get brand deals. Point number 3, here's the second thing you need to do to get brand deals, is be genuine with your audience. Be genuine with your audience. Be real, be who you are. I talked about this in episode number 878. The key to building a personal brand is personality. Episode 878, again, is linked down below in the show notes. You got to be genuine with your audience. We have all been unconsciously trained to see through bullshit and fakery by now. Now, how do I know this? How do I know that all of us can see through bullshit and fakery, at least on the internet? The way that I know it is because we are all, every single day, being trained to do it, even when we don't know it, because we're on our phones all day. We're on the internet all the time. So we know when somebody's lying, we know when someone's faking, we know when someone is saying something and they're acting like they like the product, but we know they're doing it as an advertisement. We can tell. We can see through the bullshit because we are being trained on it every single day. You do something often enough, you get really good at it, even if it's something that's not helping you. So since we're online all the time, we can see through anybody's bullshit and people can see through your bullshit. And if we later on find out that we've been lied to or someone was faking, we would despise that person because we realized that they weren't keeping it real with us from the beginning. So the more genuine you are with your audience, and when I say being genuine, I mean be genuine about, if you're advertising something, say you're advertising it. These days, it's kind of a legal thing. You have to. The SEC is getting all involved in that kind of stuff. But also, when I say be genuine, what I mean is be genuine about who you are as a person. All right, if you like to use profanity, use it. All right, if you are a fan of this person or that person that some people might not like, be clear that you're a fan of that person so that people know exactly where you stand. If you're about this thing or about that thing, that again, you don't know how people are going to feel about it, be honest about it so people know who you are. And understand something. Every human being on this planet has their own quirks. They have their own idiosyncrasies. Nobody is perfect, at least not in the eyes of anybody else. We're all perfect, hopefully, when we look in the mirror, but nobody's perfect to anybody else. We all have something, some shit that we would notice in another person. You hang around anyone often enough. I don't care how great you think that person looks on Twitter, that there's something about them that you probably wouldn't like if you got to know them well enough. That applies to everybody. So with that being said, be honest and genuine about who you are as a person so that people know exactly where you stand and they can decide, all right, I'm buying into this person. I like the fact that they were willing to share something that might be a little bit controversial, might be a little bit risky for their brand, but they put it out there anyway. I respect that. There are people who are going to say that, and there are going to be people who say, you know what, they put that out there, I don't like that, I'm not listening to them no more. I'm not going to subscribe to their show anymore. I'm going to unfollow them on Instagram, and that's all right, because some people you need to get rid of in order to bring in the people that you need. We talked about this in the episode on rejection marketing, which is episode 1364. You draw new people in by turning some people away. This is part of the game in life, and if you think about it, we are all rejection marketing every single day, even if you don't know that you're doing it. So be genuine about who you are with your audience so you can build a deep connection. The deeper that connection, the better candidate you'll be for brand deals. And you know why? Having a deep connection makes you a better candidate for brand deals, because it means you have even more of the eyes and ears of your audience, meaning they're listening and paying attention to you even deeper when they know that you're being for real than if you're just this surface level, everything's perfect, you don't say anything possibly controversial, you don't do or say anything that could possibly turn anybody off, then you might not have such a deep connection with your audience. It may be surface level. Now, there are some exceptions, people who don't jump into any topic that could possibly be quote unquote controversial, and they have a huge audience and a very deep connection. But you can aim for that if you want. You can swing for that home run if you want. You might come up short. I'm just telling you everything. You can do whatever you want, but I'm making sure I'm laying the whole game out here so you know exactly what you're getting into, what you're passing up, and what you're going for. So the deeper that connection, the better candidate you'll be, because people can get more, which means you can get more brand deals after that. You have that deep connection and you do well with that brand deal, then you'll get another one. Because people are looking at what kind of results they got from dealing with you. Let's move on to point number 4. Today's topic, once again, is how to get brand deals. The next thing you have to do is sell yourself. If you want to get a brand deal, it might not happen the way that it looks like when you read the articles online. All right, you hear about people getting brand deals, or you hear about some person who has 100 million followers and they got this deal, that deal, and they're turning down deals, and they signed this deal for $2 million, and they got this deal happening over here, and one post is worth 100,000. Understand something. Those people are the exceptions. If you want to get a brand deal, you don't have to wait for somebody to call you. You don't have to wait for the companies to come your way. You can go out there and sell yourself. And I have a course called Sell Yourself, which is available at Work on Your Game University. If you go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. But if the calls are not coming in, listen, start making some calls. Put together a packet of your credentials. This is very simple what you got to offer. Packet of your credentials. What platforms are you on? How much of a following do you have? Who are your audiences, meaning who are in your audience? What kind of people are following you? And again, what platforms are on? I said that already. What makes you interesting? All right, talk yourself up a little bit. What is it that you talk about? What kind of material do you put out? Do you put out basketball videos? Do you do makeup tutorials? Do you make funny, life videos? Do you go into grocery stores and do funny stuff and film it? What do you talk about so that the brand that you're reaching out to has an idea of what you're bringing to the table? And then tell them what you can do for them. Tell the brand, hey, look, you all sell, you all have this mascara that you're putting out. Look, I do makeup tutorials. So let me do a honest tutorial about your mascara that'll help you sell more of the mascara. Simple enough, right? You reach out to a company that makes basketballs and say, look, I make basketball dribbling drills every day on TikTok. Send me one of your basketballs and give me a code, like an affiliate code, and I'll sell at least 100 of those basketballs in a week. And if I do that, let's do another brand deal, and this time you pay me in cash. You can do this. You can make these offers very easily. You can reach out to these folks. And let me remind you all of something, especially now in 2021 and beyond. Each one of these brands, they have people whose full-time job it is to look for people like you. So it's not like you're going to be sending this email to some random person who doesn't have time or to even understand what you're talking about. These companies have people whose whole job, they show up in the morning and they leave at night. The only thing they do in between is look for people like you that they can do brand deals with to help the company sell more of their products. So your message won't be falling on deaf ears. All you have to do is find out who is that person and reach out to them. You can sell yourself to these people. You do not have to wait for them to come to you. This is one of the common misconceptions about being an influencer online and getting these brand deals, that you have to wait for them to start calling you. No. And that's in no area of life. All right? You want to get a date, you want to get a relationship, you want to sign a contract to play pro basketball, you want to write a book, you want to sell your product, you want to get a job. You can't sit around and just wait for the phone to start ringing. If it's not ringing already, you can go out and let these people know that you exist. And again, they have people whose whole job is to find you. So if they haven't found you, you go find them. Reach out to them and share it. And listen, they might say yes. Don't think that brand deals are just gotten. All right, you don't just get a brand deal, meaning someone gave it to you. Brand deals are sold, and you can sell to anybody anytime that you want, as long as you're willing to sell. We talked about a couple days ago the selling equation. You have great marketing, meaning people know you exist, and you have some actual substance behind what you're offering. Some people are going to say yes to you. So just be willing to go out there and ask for it. Go and sell yourself. Worst case scenario, they ignore you or they say no. If they say no, you can ask why, you can find out. They might say, well, look, you don't have enough followers, or look, we want a female, you're a male. They can say, well, we want somebody who's a person of color and you're white. They might say, well, we want someone who talks about basketball, but you talk about makeup. Or we want someone who talks about makeup, but you talk about basketball. So maybe it's just not the right fit. But at least you can find out. And then you can even ask them, hey, who do you think I should reach out to? They might know, because if they're in that industry of finding people for brand deals, they probably know other people who do the same job. So use your ingenuity, folks. Use your creativity. Do not sit around twiddling your thumbs and just waiting for the opportunity to come to you. You can go to the opportunities and you can become the opportunity yourself. This point alone right here, this point number 4 alone right here, should make some of you some money. So when you make some money off this point, please reach out to me and just let me know. I'm not going to ask for a cut. Just let me know so you could be a success story of the Work on Your Game Masterclass, and I can use that. All right, so you get that, and you get the brand deal. I get the proof that the material that I'm giving you here on the show actually works. That will work. So somebody go use it. I want to know who the first person is who does it. I'll shout your name out on the show. Point number 5. Today's topic, once again, is how to get brand deals. Number 5. It's the simplest one. When you get into business, read your contracts. Any business that you get involved in, read the contract. This is business 101, folks. I don't care if you're 19 or 25, or this is the first brand deal you've ever done and you're excited about the dollar amount on there. Read the whole contract. Know exactly what you are agreeing to. Contracts are binding agreements that can stand up in court, meaning if you do not do what it says in that contract, you can be taken to court and sued for not doing it. But if you don't know what's in the contract, why would you sign it? Don't sign anything that you do not understand. If you don't know every word in that contract, ask somebody that you do know. Ask your parents, ask a lawyer, ask another person who does brand deals. Go Google it, go post it on your social media, not the contract, but ask people in your following. Say, does anybody know exactly what this phrase means? I'm about to do this brand deal, but I don't know what this means and I want to sign the contract. Get the information. All right, ignorance is not an excuse, everybody. In the world that we're in today, ignorance is no longer an excuse. You cannot claim ignorance for making a mistake. The information is available. You just need to know to ask the right question to the right person. If you can't find it in any of the places that I just told you, send me a text, 305-384-6894. I will either direct you to the right information or I'll give you the information. But do not sign anything that you do not understand. Contracts, again, are binding agreements. You can be taken to court and sued for not living up to a contract. So do not sign anything that can get you in court. You're not going to go to jail, but it can get you in court for not living up to it. You don't even know what it is. Why would you agree to something you don't know what it is? So it just doesn't make sense, right? That's what a contract is, in case any of you didn't know. So all that said, let's recap today's class, which is how to get brand deals. This caps off this three-part mini-series here about selling yourself and marketing yourself. With so many people wanting to become influencers, young and old, male and female out here, then I think we need to get on the record with a master class here, a primer on how to get these deals. Number one, first understand what a brand deal is. Anytime a company wants to borrow your relationship with your audience to promote their product or their cause. Simple as that. Doesn't matter how big the company is or how big you are. If they want to trade off of your audience and pay you something for it, that is a brand deal. Point number two, how do you do it? First of all, you got to have a platform, have an audience. Brands are paying for the connection you have to your audience. It doesn't mean you need to have a whole bunch of people. It just means you need to have a solid connection with people based on a specific niche. Whatever that is, if you have a solid enough connection, you are eligible to get a brand deal. You might not want one, but you are eligible if you have that. Point number three, be genuine with your audience, meaning make sure your audience knows exactly what you're about, who you are, and what you bring to the table. All right? You don't need to stay on the surface with your audience out of fear of pissing somebody off or turning people off. It's okay to piss some people off and turn people off. We call that rejection marketing. For every person you reject, there are 10 people you will bring in. The deeper the connection, based on the fact that not everybody can be in the group, the more solid your audience is and the better you'll do when you do have a brand deal. Point number four, sell yourself. If the calls are not coming in, start making some calls. Put together a packet of your credentials. And if you want to sell yourself for a brand deal, put together the following things. Put it in a Google Doc and just copy paste it every time. Here's the platforms I'm on. Here are the followings that I have. Here are the type of people in my audience. Here's what makes me interesting. And here's what I can do for you. That's it. Put those things in an email and start sending out to people who could possibly sign you to a brand deal. Reach out to them and share that. Listen, they might say yes, everybody. Do not think that brand deals are just gotten. Sometimes they are sold. Your phone is not always going to ring directly, but you can go out and ring other people's phones. How many people listen to this show right now found me through something that I put out? You found me through an advertisement that I was running, or I was on somebody else's platform. I was on somebody else's show. How many of you found me through that? Was that because they called me? Usually it's because I called them. So you don't have to sit around and wait for the phone to ring. You can start ringing phones. And point number five, read your contracts. This is business 101. If you sign anything, read it first. Do not sign anything in which you do not understand the language. Contracts are binding legal agreements. Do not sign it if you don't understand it. Use Google, ask your parents, call a lawyer, reach out to me, but don't sign it until you understand every single thing on it. All that said, if you're looking for someone who can help you build your brand, get your personal and professional game to as high as possible level to make sure you squeeze all the orange out of your juice, metaphorically speaking, maybe even literally speaking, then you may be a good candidate for my 3rd-day mastermind. It is the only place that I offer direct one-on-one coaching, maybe even to you. But the only way to join that mastermind is you must get on a call with me first on Zoom so I know exactly who you are, what you're about, where you're at, where you want to go, and then we can go from there. So go to workonyourgameuniversity.com/call. There you can fill out a quick form. We'll get on Zoom, talk about what we need to talk about, and go from there. Everybody who's listening, send me a text and tell me the best insight you got from today's class. And when you get that brand deal, definitely let me know. So again, you could be a success story of the value that I'm giving here on this class. My number is 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre, all